Welcome back into another PrizePicks MLB DFS video. Let's go ahead and get into the top picks for today. All right, so getting into the props cheat sheet, I want to start out with the MLB props in terms of hitting props because those have been the best ones thus far since I've added that in there. So we'll click on hitting fantasy score. And what I want to do is I'm going to sort by projected prop line, but then I'm also going to do this. I'm going to take the prop line difference, which is going to be the average Vegas line minus the PrizePicks line, and we're going to pull that to even. And it's really been in this regard where we see both of them matching up, where both the projection and Vegas thinks they're going to be over based off the odds that we were pulling in, and thus we can get into edge on PrizePicks. And so we can see the first one is going to be Bryce Harper, projected to get over that by a decent amount, and we can see it like just as a whole, this is going to be a pretty big edge there. That is the edge that we will take. That's why I made him the cover boy today. And we can see he's just kind of going to be due for a good game as well. Struggled in the last two. And then from there, we have Kyle Schwarber for over his fantasy score as well at 7.5. What I find extremely interesting is that based off of the average Vegas lines that we are getting, we can see that they are thinking it's about a minus 152% chance for him to get the over there. That's obviously pretty strong. And then the last one I want to touch on is going to be Tatis as well for over his fantasy score as well. That is set at 9. That's pretty high. He has been someone that has been popping up the last few slates, and obviously he's crushed in a majority of those. So if you guys want to roll with the hot hand, you can there as well. Now I want to go ahead and get into some pitching-based props. So personally, I like to roll with these type of props, the pitching based fantasy props, because to me they're going to be like shots on goal in hockey. They're going to be like receptions or targets in NFL, where it's just easier to predict. The highs and lows are not going to be as that. So I do actually like this first game here, and I'm hoping that we actually get a combined pitcher strikeout for them, because I'm not exactly sure I want to use them individually, but I think if we got them as a whole at like 9 strikeouts, I'd probably take that just because they both are going to get a good matchup. Both of these two teams are ranking out in the bottom 5 of strikeouts given up to opposing pitchers over the past 9 innings, or over the past 3 games per 9 innings. And so that's kind of why I want to pair that. Obviously, Joey had a really good game in his first game. Second game, he only pitched 5.1 innings. Didn't really get tore up, but he did give up a couple walks, to give up a homer as well. So that could be part of the worry, I guess, with him. And then Joey lately has been pitching better. We can see over his last 3 games has gone 6, 4, and 7 strikeouts. The only issue with this is that the Mets are actually way better away in terms of strikeouts. They don't strike out as much, which is kind of just a strange thing. And so that's kind of why if we were to bet on these, I'd want to bet them together. And that's kind of the issue as well with the pitching props, is that they are now treating this like a shots on goal prop, where anyone that is good, they are just bumping up. Like, let's look at all these ones. Bumped up, bumped up, bumped up. Like anyone that was like a seemingly good one, Vegas odds wise, they're just automatically getting bumped. And Underdog is doing that as well, just as an FYI. So we are kind of forced into maybe chasing some of these push ones a little bit more than we would like. And then looking at Mitch Keller going against Tampa Bay, over their last 3 games, they've given up 10.7 strikeouts per 9 innings to opposing pitchers, which ranks out bottom 5 as well. And we can see for the most part, in a majority of the games, he's been either getting the over strikeouts or he's been close to getting the over strikeout. And so that is something that I like as well. These first 3, though, they don't really feel like great ones. I wouldn't say they'd be like yesterday, where it kind of felt like all the props we were making were forcing it, although that worked out MLB-wise yesterday, not so much NBA-wise, but they are tighter than I would like. Let's put it that way. I like the fact that we are getting 5.5 here, though, for Mitch. And the biggest issue that I have is if we pull it up here on the 9to5 PrizePicks cheat sheet here, he is projected to get under that. The Vegas odds would suggest the under as well. So to me, if you are making this bet, it doesn't really make sense to use it on PrizePick. This would be a bet that you would want to make on one of the sports books, where the payout would be better for an individual prop like this that's not exactly expected to get there on paper. It'd pay out better over there than PrizePicks, where you don't want to do too many negative odd bets with, essentially. So that's where I'd like it better on one of the sports books instead of prize. And now getting into 2 that I like a little bit more. We got JP Sears for over 5 strikeouts, and it's ugly on paper, right? It just is, okay? It's not going to be pretty. But if we look at it, like, as long as he does get us maybe the potential for 6 innings, then it's not a terrible prop here. Okay, 6, 6, and 5 innings. That is all good. He had one really good game where he was wheeling and dealing, but he still gave up a lot of runs. He is someone that is going to give up a lot of runs. It's just whether or not, or when that occurs. I mean, look at the ERA, 6.23. But now, why do I like it? Well, he is a pitcher that really gets one of the best matchups on the slate as well, going against Seattle, who has given up the 3rd most strikeouts to opposing pitchers over the past 3 games. And if you look at it, this game is going to be away for Seattle, and they are much worse away than they are in home games. So we kind of have that going for us as well. And then lastly, looking at the best bet that we are getting on paper today, it's got about a 54% chance to hit. We got Braxton Garrett over 4.5 strikeout. And what I find super interesting about this prop is that we can see here against Atlanta had 3 strikeouts, but he only pitched 3 innings in that game because there was a rain delay. Also in his first game, only pitched 3 innings. He's actually been someone that has been pitching pretty well as a whole. And Atlanta on the season ranks out as a top 6 matchup in terms of strikeouts given up. Now they have been a little bit better over the past 3 games, actually much better, and they are better on the road in terms of strikeouts as well, which is kind of strange. But Braxton literally just had 3 strikeouts in 3 innings against this team. The biggest issue that we have with him is the simple fact that he most likely is only going to pitch 5 innings. He's only pitched 5 innings, a max of 5 innings thus far this season. And so that's my biggest worry, is that we most likely are not going to get a big bump in innings pitched, which makes this a little bit tighter. This is probably my favorite pitching prop on the day. But for what it's worth, like looking at this as well, he has been someone that has been giving up such a low walk rate as well. He's just not walking batters. And so this could be one that we go with as well. Now, I haven't messed around with walks allowed too much, but just going through the research process, this was a prop that stuck out to me for walks allowed. And let's just put it this way. If he is not getting that many walks and he has the potential to get 5 strikeouts and pitch 5 innings, I do think if we get a fantasy score prop for him, it's probably going to be a good one, because chances are he's not going to get a win or quality start. And I would assume that would be factored into his fantasy score. But if we are getting around 5 strikeouts and 5 innings pitched, that should be enough for us. Hopefully, fingers crossed, right? But yeah, it's really deciding which one you want to do with him for a prop. So just to recap, these are going to be my favorite props on the day. Once again, like the hitting fantasy score props have been the best recently in terms of hitting, in terms of those players that have a projection over fantasy score, and also the average Vegas line is suggesting that it should be over fantasy score. Those have been hitting pretty well. And so yes, it is a small sample size, and we'll see how that goes, but I think for a while I'm going to be chasing those a little bit. And then I do think Garrett is going to give us a good chance with the pitching prop, whether you want to do strikeouts or walks allowed. That's going to be up to you. That's going to be all for today's video. Just a reminder, if you guys want access to that PrizePicks and Underdog cheat sheet, it is available for $10 a month. That's included with the Fantasy Golf membership. It is just one flat monthly rate membership for all the tools that are available for 9to5 Sports members. All right, thanks for watching. Let's have a good slate. And as always, let's keep cashing.